Hey, everybody. So today I want to talk about Salesforce administrator jobs specifically. If you've watched any of my content, any of my videos, you'll know that I've created a career as a Salesforce administrator specifically. And what I mean by that is I'm not a developer, and I'm not a CPQ expert. I'm not a field service lighting expert or a marketing cloud expert or anything like that. I specifically do the point and click or declarative side of Salesforce. So what that means is, yeah, it can be basic stuff like user management, creating new users, assigning security settings, roles, profiles, field level security, these types of things. What this can also mean are using maybe an outdated tool like Workflows or the new version of Workflows, Process Builder, creating new fields, validation rules, formulas, building reports and dashboards, analyzing data to help management make business decisions, all of these things that administrators do. And I found that being a very good administrator has been an extremely stable career path to be on without having to go down all of these other rabbit holes or specialize in certain areas. I found that if I just communicate well and do a good job at the things that I feel comfortable with, there are plenty of jobs always available. There's plenty of money to be made. And there are plenty of clients and employers who need and are in high demand of these skills that not many people have because they're too busy trying to be good at everything instead of actually being good at anything. And I think it's time that we understand why it's so important to be good at one thing and focus in on that, and why we don't have to be good at everything, because there are so many jobs available in the Salesforce space that we can simply focus on being Salesforce administrators. Now, if you want to be a developer, there's amazing content out there about how to be a developer. But the point I'm trying to make is that you don't have to do certain things in the Salesforce space just to make more money or just to have career growth. Career growth can be had with something as simple as what is strongly considered the base level Salesforce professional, which is a Salesforce administrator. And today I'm going to show you a salary and really job requirement breakdown that Salesforce Bens pulled together from the Mason Frank salary surveys this year. So keep in mind, this is not old, outdated 2018-19 information. This is actually November 30th, 2020. This report became available, and Salesforce Bens, as always, was right on top of it and made an amazing post about it. So I'm going to share that now. And what I want you to see here is that these salary numbers are very reasonable. A lot of people are going to look at this and go, those are so high. If you think these salary numbers are really high, you probably need to message me or comment on the video and find out what you can be doing to recognize these salary numbers in your life. Because if you're in the Salesforce space and you're not seeing numbers like this, chances are you need a little bit of guidance and a little bit of someone behind you showing you the path in order to realize some of these numbers. So let's go ahead and hop in. Now, in the admin guide here, the Salesforce Admin Salary Guide 2021, what I'm going to do is you can get a link here in the video description, but if you come over here, we're going to be talking about who are Salesforce admins. And I'm not going to read through this entire thing, but what I want to point out is that they're going to say, and this is Salesforce admins overall, so this could be junior all the way to senior, and we'll talk a little bit about the differences in just a little while. So they carry out the core function that allows organizations to maintain a healthy org, customize Salesforce using declarative point-and-click configuration. They support the end users and optimize business operations. They master declarative point-and-click configuration, and very occasionally will, and I'll say a senior admin will use a programming language like Apex. Typically, it's because a developer built something and the admin feels comfortable going into something that already exists and sort of poking around and finding maybe a nuance or something they can fix and fixing it, but they're not building code from scratch. All right, so let's go down here. And this is something I want to point out too, is what I'm seeing right here. And I see a lot of people coming in and they're saying, hey, how do I become a Salesforce tester? How do I become a Salesforce business, like a BA in Salesforce? What's the difference between an admin and these other roles? And what you'll come to find is that the Salesforce Administrator job title is very different from other industries. The Salesforce Administrator is expected to do a lot of these roles, and it's because Salesforce has made the tool so declarative and so easy to use that you really can do a handful of these different things as the administrator. So you really are expected to have this business analysis role. Where you work and gather requirements and build solutions and then actually design them out and build them into Salesforce. That's what you should be doing, using the functionality of Salesforce that you feel comfortable with, which is the declarative side. Now, let's see here. So when we talk about a junior admin here in just a second, we're going to be talking about people with 0 to 2 years experience, possibly up to 3 years, maintaining the Salesforce org on a day-to-day basis. Now, mid-level is 2 to 4 years experience, fairly complex Salesforce org, more users, complex sharing models, maybe some integrations or some less common app exchange tools or features that aren't typically used by smaller companies. But this is still very practical use of Salesforce at 2 to 4 years experience. And I want you to notice this too. In the Salesforce space, a junior level person is someone with 2 years or less experience. In some industries, a junior level person could have 5 or 10 years experience. A mid-level is 2 to 4 years experience, while a senior admin, you are considered a senior resource because you have 5 years experience. That should tell you how in demand Salesforce resources are and how sort of amazing this job opening or this opportunity is in this environment, because after only 5 years, you are a senior resource in the Salesforce ecosystem. So just keep that in mind. And what are you going to be doing there? Maintaining a complex Salesforce org, managing a team or working with external parties to carry out releases, and having stakeholder management responsible for governance. So this is pretty vague in my opinion. I see a lot of 5+ years senior doing the same things you see here, or maybe they're working at a consulting company now as a solution architect, which is basically a very advanced Salesforce administrator in a consulting firm. So let's take a look at the numbers. So we're looking at junior, 0 to 2 years experience, average of $97,000 in the US. Senior, 2 to 4 years experience, or sorry, let me make sure I'm looking at this right. Senior, 5+ years experience, $122,000. And I would say that's about right. Most of the people I talk to, most of the people I interview on my YouTube channel, most of the people that I know in the LinkedIn space and the Salesforce space I'm involved in, if they have more than 3 years experience, they're making over $100,000. And if you're not, I can show you how. And if you have less than 2 years experience, you're a beginner, I've got a Salesforce Career Development Program to show you exactly how to get $60,000 to $80,000 at your first job as a Salesforce professional. So we're not talking about, you might make 60 to 80K 2 or 3 years in. We're talking about making 60 to 80,000 on your first day at work. So that's what I want to point out. I can show you exactly how to do that, and we're already doing that with a lot of people. So I just want to point that out. But the other thing is, yeah, you should be making $97,000. And if you're not, we can help you out there. So salary factors, experience, certifications, location. I would argue that given what has happened with the pandemic in 2020, that location may have taken a blow here where it's not quite as important. But of course, once we have a vaccine, once things start opening back up, location may become more of a priority. But right now, while I'm making this video, I'm finding that location is less meaningful, especially when landing your first job, because everything is remote at this point. Now, I'm going to hop down. You can read the full article, but this is some of the stuff it'll tell you about what you're expected to do as a junior administrator. And I want to point this out because there's a lot of confusion here about what administrators are expected to do. So maintaining the Salesforce org, that means if errors pop up, if users can't do something, you're able to troubleshoot and fix. Usually working with Sales Cloud. I would argue probably Sales Cloud and Service Cloud. But hey, let's call it Sales Cloud. Easy enough. Acting as the first line of support for users. That's probably true. Sometimes they'll go to their manager if they need some help with something and it's a training issue. And then they'll typically come to you if the manager doesn't have a clear answer for the question. Example responsibilities, user management. That's creating new users, deactivating old users, maybe making sure people have the permissions they need to have, maintaining the security model, things like sharing settings, org-wide defaults, field level security, roles and profiles, those types of things. record types, process builder automations, page layouts, reports and dashboards, data management, some basic importing and exporting of data to facilitate the needs of the business, doing requirements gathering, but not a core competency. So I would say right here that being good at gathering requirements and talking to the right people about the requirements for the company is an incredible skill to have, but it really puts you at a mid-level or senior level experience. So having the ability to gather requirements properly is a huge asset to have, and it'll really make you stand out not only in interviews, but also in the actual job when you're working and you're using some of these skills to gather proper requirements for projects and deliverables internally. Now, generally won't have detailed knowledge of project management, and they will work on a team or as a solo admin. And sometimes you might be an accidental admin. Accidental admin basically means you worked at a company that started using Salesforce and they didn't have an administrator, so they just sort of assigned you as the administrator. So definitely a junior level is someone who's just sort of doing administrative functions, but that's not really their job. Or they work on a Salesforce team, or they're the solo administrator for maybe a smaller company, or even a large company that has a rudimentary or simplistic use of Salesforce. Then moving into mid-level, these are people likely making right at about $100,000, maybe a little more. We're talking about it's all of the same things, just a little more complex. Usually working with Sales Cloud, they might have to specialize in CPQ, but this is all internal. It doesn't mean you need to be CPQ certified. It means that your company might have purchased CPQ and you might have to work with some consultants to work through it. Or you might get really good at it because you've used it so much, but there's no expectation that you're a CPQ expert in these mid-level jobs. Maintaining and customizing using best practices. So fully understanding options. So this is right. So it's the ability to hear what someone needs and having the knowledge to leverage Salesforce in the best way to solve that problem. For instance, if someone needs an automated email sent out, you should know right away that that's probably going to be using Process Builder with an email alert and an email template. If you go use Workflow, that's probably the wrong thing to do. If you think you need to use Apex, that's definitely over-engineering it. If you think you need to go download something from the App Exchange, you've just gone in the wrong direction. It's understanding that Process Builder would be the right solution for that problem and knowing how to leverage Salesforce functionality to solve the requirements that come up for the business. Now, someone with 2 to 4 experience may be able to use a tool like Salesforce Flow, again, at a basic level. We're not expecting you to travel every corner of flows and know how to do everything perfectly, but we are expecting you to experience that a little bit, to lean into it, figure out how to use it, maybe take a quick $20 course on using flows, go through Trailhead, and become comfortable with flows over time, especially as you become a senior administrator. You generally will not have exposure to code. However, you will be able to write specs for a developer. That's exactly right. You'll be able to tell a developer what the requirements are, but you're not telling them how to do it. You're just telling them what you need. Exposure to requirements gathering, understanding business processes, have an understanding of project management, just how to make all the pieces fall together to actually get requirements built on a larger project, and you're self-sufficient. So you don't need a senior level person to guide you. You can guide yourself using Facebook groups like Salesforce for Everyone, LinkedIn groups, the Trailblazer communities, the knowledge articles, all these different places you can go for Salesforce help without needing an internal, full-time person who's there to help guide you as a senior. Now, moving into the senior role, this is where it gets a little more complex. So you're maintaining large Salesforce orgs with a lot of users. You're likely working on a team at this point. We're talking enterprise companies where, like it says here, you have hundreds of users on a daily basis and a lot that need a lot of attention, and you have to make sure you're paying attention. You're probably working with the sales department, the marketing department, the support department, maybe R&D and accounting, and you're supporting everyone's use of Salesforce. So again, you might be on a team, but you might not. You'll have a fully fledged knowledge of Salesforce best practices, understanding the architecture of Salesforce and how it integrates with other systems. I would say this is true. You need to understand how the data goes in and out of Salesforce to make sure that you're building things in a way that don't break other integrations and things like that. You might be managing a team or working with vendors like App Exchange partners or other groups to oversee the development of your Salesforce org. You have stakeholders like managers who are definitely interested in what's being built, and you can help have some of these higher level management conversations to help decide which direction Salesforce goes in. And maybe you're reporting to the director of information technology or the director of business services and helping them prepare for some of these higher level meetings with people who are interested in the direction of Salesforce and the overall IT department going forward. You'll be very good at managing projects, gathering requirements, and understanding how those fit in. And at this point, I would say, to break this down, a junior level would probably have 1 to 2 certifications, maybe 3 towards the end of this. Those certifications would likely be administrator, maybe platform dev 1, platform app builder, maybe advanced administrator, sales cloud consultant. But really getting up into mid-level, this is where you're going to expect to have probably 3 to 5 certifications. Again, piggybacking on admin, platform app builder, maybe platform dev 1 from an understanding perspective. You're probably going sales cloud, service cloud at this point, maybe advanced admin or something like that. And really the same goes at this point. You'll be getting certifications in your senior years based on things you're focusing on. Maybe it's CPQ, maybe it's Marketing Cloud, Pardot, Field Service Lightning. Maybe you're leaning more into the developer side with Platform Dev 2 or JavaScript. So it's up to you which direction you go, but it stays pretty much the same for the first 2, 3, 4 years. And then once you start advancing forward, you'll start getting more specialized certifications based on what your expertise have been over those years. So I hope that helps shed some light. So just keep in mind that it's not overly important to avoid being an administrator because you don't think you'll get paid well enough, or to avoid being an administrator because you don't think jobs are available. You're going to get paid really well as an administrator. Even if you don't go into other specialties, you could operate like a junior for your entire career and never really lean in to some of these more expert level topics. And you could make $100,000 a year, never really challenging yourself as a Salesforce administrator. So let's just keep that in mind, that there is great money to be made in the Salesforce space, no matter what it is you choose to do. And there really is room for everybody. So if you're interested in Salesforce and jumpstarting your Salesforce career, make sure you check out the description below. I've got a Salesforce Career Development Program where we are seeing tremendous success with people landing jobs as Salesforce administrators and professionals in the Salesforce space using a proven methodology of getting you certified if you aren't already, getting you real-world experience guaranteed, getting you prepared for interviews, helping you understand how to find jobs that are a good fit for you, helping you get into things like study groups and understanding how to actually gather requirements and do things properly for a business when you land a job. We're going to show you how to dominate your LinkedIn profile for branding and to really grab the attention of recruiters and hiring managers. So we really do it all. It really is truly comprehensive. It is honestly, it's a small investment for what you're getting and your future as a Salesforce professional, making well over $100,000 for the rest of your career. So if you're feeling apprehensive about it, then we have a money back guarantee, 100%. Every penny of your money, we will give it back if you're not happy with the program. So anyway, just check out that in the description below. I hope you found value in this. Also, keep in mind, make sure you like and subscribe and comment on this video, and that you share other videos on your social networks with hashtag Salesforce for everyone, because we give away all of the revenue from this YouTube channel. We give it away at the end of each month. We just gave away over $100 last month, and we're hoping that the pot will be bigger and bigger so we can give away more and more money, not to me, but give it all away to you guys. So thanks for watching. I hope you found value, and make sure you enjoy the Salesforce journey.